Y'all, I think it's happening. Is it happening? Let's see. See if we have cats. I think it's happening. Can you please switch to the cats up? Thank you. Hi. Sorry about that. I swear I was on time. And then OBS crashed again just as I was starting things up. Very annoying. Najwa, you were first. Huzzah. Yeah, it's being a party pooper again. Hi, Couch Potato, welcome. Yeah, we're starting with the Jammy Dodgers. I'm hoping to get little Timony Cricket in here at some point. We'll see how that goes. Budgie seems to be hiding in the bedroom today. Budgie's been pretty stressed about the new kitty. And the new kitty does not get to just have free reign of the house. You know, he's... Cinna is already, like, sort of confined to the downstairs most of the time for Budgie's sake. And so Timony Cricket is also mostly a downstairs cat. Hello, welcome, cat. But yeah, I'll scoop Timony at some point and bring him in here. I just realized there's a thing. Hang on. I just realized there's mail down there that I don't think that camera is anywhere near high resolution enough for my address to be visible, but just to be on the safe side, we'll just move that a little. Jimmy. Who's Jimmy? Oh, you mean Jammy because it was a typo, I think. Does Jammy get along with the baby? Jammy would prefer if there was no baby, but is also not prepared to do anything about the baby. She just wants to be left alone. Yeah, Jammy would like to be left alone. Budgie would like to be left alone, but is also terrified and will run and be incredibly stressed out if she so much as sees a cat that isn't Jammy Dodgers. Cinna is coming around on the baby. They I had a photo that I put in one of the Discords earlier. I don't remember which one. A photo of Cinnamon and Jiminy Cricket, both on the porch, sort of side by side, on separate perches. So they're doing well. They're settling in well. Hello, welcome, Sylvia. Yeah, exactly. How dare other cats exist? That is precisely what Budgie thinks. Jammy just doesn't want to interact with them, but as long as they're leaving her alone, she'll basically just ignore them. She doesn't care too much. But yeah, Budgie really just would like every other, not just cat, but every other entity that isn't Brian or myself or Jammy Dodgers to just die immediately. Vanish off of the face of the earth. Budgie really is terrified of everything and everyone. So she's not a big fan of the kitten, but we knew that she wouldn't be. It's fine. It's not that big a deal. The important thing is how Cinna and Timony are getting along, and so far that has been pretty darn good. I am very pleased. Cinna, having been a street cat, doesn't really understand how to play with other cats. And so she basically just thumps him on the head, she'll like kind of, get playful and then go and just smack him in the face a couple of times. But she's not using claws, so there's no real malice. She's just sort of putting him in his place, and making sure that he knows that she's in charge. And then also she's kind of invited him to play a little bit a couple of times, but he's so intimidated by her. He doesn't really understand her invitations, and she doesn't really understand his invitations yet. But they'll get there. They have certainly been playing in proximity to each other, so I'm pleased. Cat bats. Yeah, they got some real ears. Okay. So the first thing that I want to do, I have a plan for my nails. The plan for my nails is I want to do 4 little portraits. I want to do Budgie, Jammy, Cinna, and Timony. 1 on each nail. We'll leave off the thumbnail. We won't do anything on the thumbnail. But I want to do 4 little portraits. Just their faces. But I need you all to choose a background color for me. Oh no. Your cat gets her claws stuck in your dog. That's poor pupper. That's so sad. Okay, so I'm gonna show you I've basically selected 4 polishes that I want to choose from, and these are just from my untrieds. So for the backdrop, for my nail art, so basically the idea is going to be kitty head French tips on these 4 nails with whatever background y'all choose. And I did do a little swatchy swatch of these to make sure that they're going to be reasonably opaque in 2 coats, because I don't want to have too thick of a base before I start on the nail art. So these are the polishes. Hang on, there. A little more light on the other side there. So one of these 4 is what I want to use. Looks like Najwa and Couch Potato are both saying the Beau Rev, the blue. Kat is requesting the grungy teal multi-chrome, because of course she is. Should I do a poll? Maybe I should do a poll. I mean, there's only 5 people here right now, so, well, I guess 4 plus me. So, unless somebody else chooses the teal, I think we're going with the Beau Rev. Yeah, poll? Okay. Alright, we'll go ahead and poll it. Okay. Background. Hello, Jammy Dodgers. I guess she got down and decided she needed to get some scritches. Sorry, I need to pause. Okay, let's see. We've got, the Jen and Berries, we've got the Beau Rev, we've got the Kathleen and Co., and we've got the Rogue. Here. And that's the same order on there. I would like to stick with just one background for all of them. Hi, Jammy Dodgers. What you doing? Let's let them answer the poll while I give you some snuggles. Goodness. Oh, she's my big girl. Alternate cat cam. Are you the best baby? You're the best baby. Yes, you are my best little Jammy Dodgers. Yes, your mama loves you. It looks like the Bow Rev is solidly leading. Yeah, I figured that most people would be able to ID them from the bottle shapes, aside from Kathleen and Co. potentially also being one of a couple of other brands that uses that shape. All right, Jammy Dodgers. Do you see that fur flying? Oh my goodness. Are you seriously gonna lie down here? Apparently she's gonna lie down here. Alright, it looks like the Bow Rev is absolutely winning, so we're gonna go ahead and kill the pole here. Sorry, Cat, but I promise I will be wearing the Rogue for something else very soon. So I'm going to do just 2 coats of the Bow Rev. I do not expect it to be fully opaque. I think this is a little bit of a translucent formula. So it'll probably have a little bit of visible nail line in just 2 coats. But I think that's completely fine for this particular mani. Because I'm going to be using crumbs for the actual nail art. I pulled a bunch of crumbs already for the kitty colors. And so basically the whole like free edge is pretty much going to be covered. Oops, bit too much there. It's really helpful having a cat on your lap while you're painting your nails while you're also live streaming. I highly recommend this. It makes it really easy to paint your nails, just FYI. She definitely does not want me to paint her. I think that because she's just an old lady, I think that her sense of smell... crap. Oh, are you fucking kidding me? I filled my little cap with my acetone and then immediately knocked it over, the little cap, as I was putting the acetone bottle back. Yeah, no, I think that she's losing her sense of smell a little bit in her old age because she really does not seem to be quite as upset about the smell as she was when I first started painting my nails. Either that or she's just like gotten too used to it. I suppose that's possible. Budgie certainly spends as much time as she does in this room while I'm painting my nails and does not want to be touched at all after my nails are freshly painted. So I think it might just be Jammy losing her sense of smell. I make what look effortless? Painting my nails on stream with a cat in my lap? She's very helpful. Yes, you're a very good girl. Let's see if I can make it so you can at least just see her head a little bit. There we go. Guess that's all right. What do you think? Hey, hey, hey. Can you face the... No, you're not gonna face the camera. There you go. Oh, there we go. There's some nice scritches. What a good little Jammy Dodgers. Yeah. I think Brian's out doing some gardening stuff right now. So I'll probably end up making him bring Timony up partway through the stream whenever he comes in. Alright. Thumb was a little thinner than the others. I'm undecided about whether I'm going to want to do a third coat on the thumb. We'll see how it comes out, because I had done the first coat a little bit on the thin side. We'll see. Well, I mean, it's not too patchy. I think it's pretty fine. Might just stick with 2. It is a little sheer, but it's a really nice formula, at least. I do find that while most of Borev's stuff is fairly translucent and often has this sort of ethereal quality to it, the formulas are usually quite nice. I rarely ever have anything that doesn't, go on nice and smooth. Don't usually have patchiness issues with it. What's up, Dodgers? You gonna get down? You're just rearranging your butt? Very helpful, thank you. She had to rearrange her tail. She has arthritis in her tail, and so she can't just, like, yoink it around like most cats can if it's not in the right position. She has to move her entire butt. Poor old lady. Ah! I just totally dinged one of my other nails. I think it's okay, actually. I think it dried fast enough that didn't do it hard. I think I just lightly touched it. Alright, so yeah, you can see it's definitely not like fully opaque, but I think it's fine for what we're doing here today. I think it'll look nice. Scratch the kitty while we're waiting. The tail has to stink? What do you mean the tail has to stink? Oh, you mean it stinks that she has arthritis in her tail? Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not just in her tail. Like, she's got arthritis all over. Her tail and all 4 of her limbs are quite thickened. All of her joints are very thick from the arthritis. So, yeah, she's definitely, I mean, she's on medication for it that, has helped her a lot. But she's an old lady, she's turning 16 in October. So, Linry, hello, welcome. Yeah, this is my base for my nail art that the chat chose. It's Beau Rev Ocean Eyes, their monthly mystery from last October. It was in my untried bin. In my defense, it has not been in my untried bin since October. I picked it up at PBE, so it's not like it's been sitting there since October. I do have some stuff in my untried rack that has been there for a few months, but we just aren't going to talk about that. And none of it's from October. All right, Jammy Dodgers. You're going to have to get down soon. You know that, right? I can do my top coat first while you're still here, but once I get into the nail art, you're going to have to get down. We got a top coat before nail art because, of course, we need some insurance because I guarantee I am going to mess up at some point on one of these nails, for sure, if not all of them. Linry, the plan is to paint cat portraits on these 4 nails, one for each of my 4 kitties, because I just got a new kitty. And she's not the one, the one on my lap is not the new kitty, she's one of the old kitties. The new kitty I'm going to try and bring onto stream in a little bit. Oh boy, this is real thick, let me tell you. This is a brand new bottle of top coat, and it's already like given strings. I'm gonna need to thin that. As soon as I use enough of it to make room for some thinner. Hard mode with a cat in the lap? Yeah. That's how we roll here. That's why I'm going to make her get down before I start the actual nail art, because I am simply not that good. Somewhere there is somebody who is that good that they can paint cat portraits on their nails while their cat is in their lap, but you need to go give yours a pill. I'm so glad that all of Jammy's medication is injection and not pill. Like, I've pilled cats, it's fine. I know how to do it. Like, I'm reasonably good at it. And Jammy and Budgie are pretty easy to deal with. But it's not fun. Like, nobody has a good time. Nobody's enjoying that process, you know? And Cinna, oh my god. She was an absolute menace. We tried putting her on an oral, like, flea and tick preventative thing because she used to go outside. Because, of course, you know, she was a street cat that adopted us. And so for a long time, she was still going outside every day. We finally managed to put the kibosh on that. But yeah, so for a long time she was, you know, we were trying to get her to take this flea and tick medication, and she cannot be pilled by normal humans. She simply cannot. Like, the vet managed it, but I don't know. That was... we couldn't do it. We literally couldn't do it. Yeah, the reference is really close. It's not really a good view for me, though, you know? It's not a great angle to use her as a reference. I did bring some... Hang on. I have reference photos of all of them. Let me just make this a little bigger and show you the reference photos that we're going to be using. So... preview, here we go. So here's Jammy Dodgers. The one that's on my lap. She was a little younger in this photo. And here's her sister, Budgie Smuggler. And then, so those two are both the old ladies. And then Cinnamon. And then the new baby, my little boy. He's so cute, little Timony Cricket. He's all ears. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna do, oh, there goes Jammy Dodgers. Yep, go ahead. Good girl. I think what we're gonna do is Budgie on my index, Jammy on the middle, and then Cinnamon on the ring, and Timony on the pinky. So, Jammy Dodgers. I've been abandoned. I'm doing cat nails and I have nobody on cat cam. Like, what is happening tonight? I swear these cats are so uncooperative. Okay, so let's get started with Budgie. And I pulled a bunch of colors just using crumbs for this. So she's gonna be basically all grays, plus her eyes are sort of I think she's gonna be mostly this pistachio color, probably. Yeah, she's got maybe a little bit of desert warthog in the middle. Yeah, they are all cute jerks, little shits. I'm gonna steal that child though. I'm gonna make that one come up at some point. Okay, so index. Let's start with a base of just some of this starly crater. I'm gonna try and do the base the easy way here. where I'm literally just gonna paint this sort of noggin here. Top of the noggin. Top of the noggin to you, sir. I might as well do Jammy Dodgers while I'm here. She's the same color. Get that base in there. And then we'll work the details on top of that. I feel like Timothy Cricket is going to be more of a mix, isn't he? Yeah, he's going to need like a mix of brown and gray for his base, I think. So we'll start with these two. Okay, are you gonna not cooperate with the whole focus thing? What do I need to move to make you focus? Friggin' thing, I swear. All right, so I could just mix all of my grays, and I will definitely be mixing some grays, but I wanted to use a little bit of this Don't Throw Stones for a lot of my highlighting, because it has a little bit more of like a cool undertone to it. It's very, very slightly bluey purplish, which I think is correct for Jammy and Budgie. Are you... Yeah, there we go. That's what I thought. Okay. You go away. Got notifications popping up. All right, so ears are going to be kind of there-ish and there-ish. She's got relatively sort of small, mid-sized ears, I would say. She's not a particularly eerie cat. My circ brush is finally, my detail brush is finally starting to get some shape issues, Linry. I know you had some problems early on with yours, and mine has been doing really, really well, but it is now finally starting to get a little bit of a curl in the top of it. Like just the last little bit is starting to dry out and get a little bit of a curl. So I'm gonna try the hot water trick and see if I can reshape it slightly. But otherwise I might just end up needing to trim it. I do have 2 more though of the identical brush. So, you know, if I really need to have really good precision, I can also try that. Was it the circ brush or was it the Starly that you had problems with? Now I'm not remembering. Was it the Starly? Because my Starly is still perfect, but I don't use it all the time. I use it less than I use my circ. Because my circ is like the one up from the nano equivalent. It's the right size for most of the detail work that I do, and then like the nano I use for the super, super detailed stuff. Yeah, we were on the same wavelength. All right. So I think we're basically just going to be sort of working almost exclusively in these 2 shades of gray for Budgie's face. And then I'm gonna bring in some black and white when it comes time to doing more of the like actual detail stuff. I'm going to try and do as much as I can in just the 2 grays. Starly Nano, your first one frayed out, and Starly sent you a replacement. Okay. I couldn't remember if it was... I remember it looking real bad, though. But yeah, my Starly Nano has been just fine, but as I said, I do use it a fair bit less than I use the Cirque. It's really just it's just slightly too small for anything where I need to, you know, cover any real area. And we're starting to get just a little bit gloopy here. I'm going to add some thinner. So I know a lot of you have been to my streams enough to know this, but for any VOD watchers or if there is anybody who's more new, the single biggest trick to doing detailed painting like this with nail polish, really any kind of painting with nail polish, is keeping your polish wet enough. As soon as it gets gloopy and it starts to thicken up and dry out, you'll be fighting it. And so this is the single biggest thing that you need to do. This and cleaning your brush as you go along. But I do need to kind of keep it partly off the screen here because otherwise my camera does not like to focus on anything but it. Okay. I'm going to have to start doing some mixing soon as well here to get my in-between colors. Because we don't want just hard lines between the dark and the light gray. We want some nice smoother gradients in here. We all praise at the altar of thinner, yes. Your new Nano now turtles and you have to pull the metal tip out? Oh no. You've just had bad luck, huh? That freaking sucks. I've had that happen with cheap brushes before, but so far my Starly brushes have been fantastic. Hopefully that stays that way. All right, so I've just mixed a little bit of the darker gray in with the lighter gray. And I'm not looking too much at my reference at this point. I am going to have to go back and like sort of adjust some stuff as I go along. Once I've sort of got the basic colors in, because some of it's going to have to go back to being a little darker than this. But I want to be sort of using fairly smooth gradients for most of it. So we're basically getting our gradient base in, and then after that we go in and do highlights and shadows for real. For realsies. We'll also add a tiny little bit of a pinkish to the ears, not like pink because Budgie does not have pink inner ears, but just a hint of a pink highlight, pink toned gray highlight. No regrets, you love them? Glad to hear that. I also really like mine a lot. Okay. There we go. Now... Okay, I'm going to add just a tiny dab of pink in with some gray. to make my inner ear pale gray bits. I definitely don't want it to be pink, but I want it to read slightly pinkish next to everything else. And the pink that I'm using is Dom Poppy Like It's Hot. It's a sort of a slightly peachy pink, rather than like a bubblegum pink. Just using a tiny little bit. So it's not like pink. It's like slightly pink tinged. Who dat? We got a kitty. It's Jammy. It's Jammy Dodgers. Not being on cat cam. Failing to be on cat cam. Let's do some shadows next. So we'll add a little black in with our dark gray, and this is not going to be, there's not really going to be any parts that are fully black, except maybe like just the inside of the shadow of her nose. But we will have some like darker than the base gray parts. So the inside edge of the eye has a pretty deep shadow. And the nose, obviously. A little triangular nose. If I can actually make a triangular shape, who knows? A little taste of pink, yes, exactly. And then I don't have the lower part of her mouth sort of lined up quite right. I'm going to have to do a little adjustment on the shadow and highlights in that to fix that a little bit, but we'll go ahead and get some deeper shadow parts in there for now, and then we'll just have to go in and fix some stuff in there. Tiny little bit of a darker black under here. And then not quite that dark in the corner of the eye. Okay, and then we go back to the base gray to bring in some shadow behind the jaw over here. That's too dark, but that's okay. We can lighten it up. I still had some black on my brush, so. And then there's a little bit of like a shadow there, a little bit of a shadow here. A little bit of some shadow up here and on this side. And I'm almost at this point, I'm almost like dry brushing, which is a thing that you can kind of get away with when you're painting fur, but not always all the time. Okay. So let's lighten some of this back up a little bit. Do a blend of our lightest gray and our darker gray to blend this out a bit. Sort of a little bit of push and pull in here. And as long as the polish stays reasonably wet, you can kind of just keep adding layers. It's a little bit like oil paint in that way, actually. If anybody here has ever worked with oil paint, you can kind of just keep adding layers onto it And, you know, every layer is like slightly translucent. So you just kind of slowly build up the color until it's where you want it to be. All right, now we're going to add a little bit of white in with our lighter gray and start getting some highlights going. Ray, hello, welcome. She is an incredibly soft cat. Jammy and Budgie are both just wildly soft. They're unbelievably soft. I have never known cats as soft as these two. A little highlight under the eye. And a little highlight here. And a little highlight under the eye on this side. And a little highlight in here. Oop, that was a bit too much. That's okay, we can fix that. I can fix it, I can fix it. Get some highlights up along the top edge of her fur. And then we gotta have some of these little whiskers in her ears. She's got those little hairs in her ears. Fun fact, Jammy and Budgie both have, their fur is not the same color throughout its length. They both have, actually, I think they have opposite. So Budgie has darker at the base and lighter at the tip, and Jammy has lighter at the base and darker at the tip. Or vice versa. I can't remember which one's which for sure. But yeah, they have funny fur, and their little the like fuzzy fur that's underneath the soft parts are striped. They're like striped light and dark, which is really cute, I think. All right, I have just a little bit of there's an area here that I'm not totally happy about the shape, so I'm just gonna go back in here. Because I think I made her upper lip a little bit too long. She doesn't have a long face. Neither one of these two do. They have squat little faces. It's the British short hair background. They have sort of a teddy bear face. All right, there we go. Now, let's get some pistachio going in the eyes. It's pistachio butter from Cracked. It's one of my new favorite colors. I've used it in so much nail art lately. It's just like the perfect, like, yellowy, greeny ick color. It makes me very happy. I love it. Okay. Should I have done this earlier in the process? I mean, probably. But, you know, where's the fun in that? The other thing with the hand painting stuff is cleaning your brush off super frequently. So I have like a little pad over here and my little thing of acetone that I just spilt. So I'm like kind of constantly cleaning off my brush in between. Okay, and then I want to do just like a little super thin wash of black in the eye as like a shadow. So I'm gonna like really thin out some black so it's almost like a watercolor except with thinner. And I'm gonna try and add in some shadow over the eye itself, like over the eyeball. That's like sort of a softer, so you can still see the pistachio butter underneath. I might have done a little bit too much on that side. And she also has a little bit of shadow in the bottom. Okay. And I just spilt my acetone again. Can you believe it? I've never spilt my acetone this many times in one session. What is happening today? The cats aren't on the cat cam. I'm spilling my acetone every 3 minutes. This is unacceptable, y'all. Okay. Hi, Jammy Dodgers. You've returned. What can I do for you? Would you like to go on the cat cam? So that people can admire you? Okay. I definitely went a little over into the part just below her eye here. There we go. All right. And now I need a tiny little bit of highlight. Yes, it's a disaster. I do need the toddler-proof bowls, except I just need one that's like super small. I seriously don't understand this because I've literally never had this issue with using the bottle cap. This is what I always use, and I almost never spill it. So it's very funny to me that I'm spilling it so much today. Okay. Little tiny highlight. I'm calling that good. Wait, she needs whiskers. Can I do the whiskers? Can I get these whiskers in here? What do we think? Just like a hint. I just want the barest hint of whiskeriness. Just the barest hint. There we go. Good enough. That'll do. The only thing I'm not happy with right now is sort of the top of the head area. I need to, I think I need to blend that out a little better. And I think what I'm going to do is just use my other cleanup brush, slightly moistened, to just smooch it a little bit. It's my teeny, I use it for cleanup, but I also use it for like flower petals and shit sometimes, on the very rare occasion that I actually do flower petals. Okay, there's Budgie Smuggler. There she is. I hope that I did her justice. She's declined to join us on the cat cam. Gotta at least get those 2 whiskers sticking up from her eyebrows. Okay, all right. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. She does have the little antennae whiskers. She actually has more than one on each side, but I think I need a little bit more. Yeah, she has several little eyebrow whiskers, but you can only see the most sort of pronounced ones in this. Their whiskers are really funny too because they're not they're if you put them against something white, they're definitely darker. They're like a dark gray if you put them against something white. But if you put them against something black, they're definitely like white or light gray. So I have no idea what color they are. Hi, Jammy Dodgers. What can I do for you? You need to come back up on my lap again? Okay. She's got some whiskers on her eyebrows. Hi. Are you coming back up? Come on. Oh, do you need to go behind me? Do you need to be a butt Dodgers? Okay, hang on. Here we go. Jammy, get up. Hey, come on up. Come on. Come on. Are you jumping up? Come on. Do it. Are you serious? Come on. Up you come. Come on. Good girl. She needs to be a butt Dodgers. Would you like to lie down and then maybe I can aim the cat cam at my butt so they can see you a little bit? Well, I don't want to aim the cat cam here if they're just going to be looking at both our butts. You're going to have to turn around. We are not cooperating with cat cam tonight, y'all. All right. Ghislaine, welcome. Hello. Yeah, so that's why I don't keep any open bottles anywhere. The only thing that's open is this little tiny cap, which I almost never spill. But apparently tonight I'm just constantly spilling it. And I don't know how I'm managing to spill it so much. Okay, so Budgie Smuggler Finger is done. Time for Jammy Dodgers. Jammy Dodgers is basically the same as Budgie Smuggler, except without the ears. She has no ears. I mean, obviously she has ears, but yeah, it's just an acetone cap that from an old acetone bottle. I never, ever, ever leave my acetone uncapped while I'm working because that's guaranteed to be a disaster. You're doing laundry, so you'll be on chat here and there? All right. Lurker mode activated. Small ears. Yeah, I'll tell you what, if I knew then what I know now, I would not have gotten a cat with... I would not have gotten a Scottish Fold. However, I have no regrets about having gotten Jammy Dodgers. I just wish that I knew at the time what that was going to mean. I mean, I knew that there was a higher risk of arthritis, but yeah, it's been a lot. All right, so let's get those tiny little artichoke leaf ears sort of gestured in there a little bit. And get some lighter coloring along the top. Jammy is slightly darker than Budgie. But they both have that like velvety thing going on, so it's sort of they're both lighter when the light hits them just right, by a significant margin. So it can be kind of hard to tell sometimes that Jammy is actually the darker of the two. But yeah, I think Budgie's coloring is technically called silver and Jammy's coloring is technically called blue. But I don't really understand the 'Cause, you know, it's like the breeders have like weird fucking naming for shit. You know how breeders are. Maybe you don't know how breeders are. It's probably better if you don't know how breeders are, honestly. All right. Get this blended out a little bit. Just trying to get some sort of general shapiness in here. Oh, that's too much light. We're going to have to darken that up, but that's okay. We can do that later. Let's see if I can do at least as well on Jammy as I did on Budgie, because I think I did pretty well on Budgie. I am reasonably pleased with how Budgie came out there. Okay. I should actually be using this for this part anyway. This stuff doesn't have the additive in it, but I do not need the additive for this portion of the program. I do a DIY additive. It's like a acetone antidote stuff. Based on the recipe from Evil Twin. What is it? Evil Twin Nails? Is that his handle? Or is it just Evil Twin? I forget. But yeah, Tyler, he has a recipe up on his Instagram. And I sort of just modified it from that for my own use. But it's basically just glycerin and a little bit of water in the bottle. So I have I think this is like a 4-ounce bottle. And I put like half a cc of glycerin and about half of that of water. And that works out pretty well. I'm very loosey-goosey with the measurements though. I just use one of those little the little syringes the little plasticky syringes that come with the KB Shimmer thinner bottle. I use that for it. But yeah, that's it. That's all there is to acetone antidote. And there's some on the market that have other stuff in them, but for the most part, you really don't need any of the other stuff in it. Because it's basically just some of them will have some vitamin E in it, some of them will have some various different oils. Obviously, a lot of them have scent, which I don't personally want in almost anything. But yeah, if you want to DIY it, it's dirt cheap. And I think if you're using jojoba oil and whatever else, if you're using cuticle oil on your nails in between manis, if you're using it every day the way you should be, then there's really no benefit to having that kind of stuff in your acetone as well. I don't see the point personally, but that's just me. You should do what makes you happy. Hopefully I'm managing to get this sort of correctly proportioned. I guess we'll find out as we go along here. You need to be dark under there. Duochrome plush velvet cats. They basically are, yeah. They do sort of have a crushed velvet kind of vibe to them most of the time, which I find extremely funny. All right. Let's get this mouth part under here from the nose. And then I'm gonna need more thinner. Always more thinner. Always so much more thinner. Constant thinner. And that just put the song Constant Cravings by K.D. Lang in my head. And if you don't know it, well, it's probably for the best. Not because it's not a great song, but, you know, my earworm doesn't need to be your earworm. I'm not purposely trying to ruin people's days with earworms. Alright. I went too dark there again. I keep going too dark, and then too light, and then too dark, and then too light. We'll just go back and forth until we finally get it. We'll get there eventually, y'all. I promise. I believe. I have faith. Hopefully Cinna will be easier because she has sort of more obvious markings, so I think it'll be easier to like make it look like her. You know what I mean? I feel like it's often sort of easier to sort of caricature something that has fairly obvious markings, because you can kind of, your brain can kind of fill in the blanks a little bit. Your brain's like, oh yeah, it's the guy, the bald guy with the funny hat and the big nose. Close enough. Know what I mean? You believe in the heart of the cards. That's a card captor reference, is it not? Is it? Is that a card captor reference? Is that something else? I don't know. I'm not cool, Linry. I'm not cool. Is it magic? What is it? Tell me. Tell me so that I can be cool. It's never gonna happen. I'll never be cool. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what you tell me. What I will do, however, is learn 3 things. Oh, it's Yu-Gi-Oh? Okay, thank you, Ray. Listen, I know 3 things. And if I haven't learned it from Drawfee, I don't know it. Although Karina is into Yu-Gi-Oh, so you'd think that I would have learned that one, but apparently not. Okay. Bum, 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 bum. All right, let's go in for her eyes next. And again, it's going to be mostly this pistachio, but I think I'm going to end up bringing just a little bit of desert warthog in as well. In her case, we'll see. We'll see how much I think I need it once I have this on here. It's kind of, it's so small that it might not even make a difference, but you know. Her eyes are just a tiny bit more amber than Budgie's are. No need to know any more than 3 things. That's true. 3 things is enough for anyone, I think. It's cool watching the kitties come to life on my nails. Thank you. I am glad that it is entertaining. I'm gonna be doing it anyway. I might as well let people watch me. Alright. Just do just a little bit of this color in the middle, I think. Just to kind of differentiate it slightly. I don't even know if anybody will be able to see that I did that, but I'll know. And that's what matters. Okay, next we need to do some of the more subtle shading. So I want a little bit of that like real thinned out black for on the eyes. So we can shade inside the eye a little bit. Helps make it look a little more 3D that way. And then we need a little bit more in this kind of area. She's got some more sort of darker. Jammy's got a little more of a squish face than Budgie does. They both have a little bit of a squish face, but Jammy's is a little more pronounced. So I'm just using a fairly thinned out dark gray mixed with black for this. Sort of almost using it like a wash. If anyone does watercolor stuff, it's kind of the same idea. Jammy is snoring behind my butt. I really, really need to mic her one of these days. I gotta get some sort of a kitty microphone, because it is so funny. And the big microphone that I have here just doesn't it doesn't reach down there properly, and even if it did, it would wake her up because it's kind of noisy to move around. Okay, so there's that. I feel like her nose is a little bit too small here. Just want to make this a little bigger, a little more triangular. Not too much, Peggy. See, this is where I should be bringing out my Starly brush, and I'm not, because I'm like just being stubborn about it. It's literally right here beside me. There's no reason not to. And a tiny little bit there. Okay, now I want a little highlight along the ears and the top of the head. And I'm mostly just using thinner at this point, because I've got so much polish on the palette already. There's no point in putting more polish out, at least for these colors. Not if I don't need like full thickness, full density. Okay, get a little bit of highlight along the top here. And this ear. Oh my god, her ears are so funny. They truly just look like little artichoke leaves. That was a little bit wrong. Gonna have to do a little adjustment on that. Okay. And, oh, and I need a little bit of a highlight in the eye. Okay. Need to back off this top area here. And this right here is why I always use a top coat after my base color, because I went a little past where I wanted to be. So it lets me brush off a little bit of it. There we go. All right, we have Jammy and Budgie. I think so far so good. Next, things start to get a little bit complicated. And hopefully we will do all right here. Here we are with little Miss Cinnamon. Hang on, let me just take a sip. Oh, Jammy turned around. Maybe I can... Actually, you know what? It might be a good time to see if Brian will bring Timony up. Hey, Brian. Do you want to bring Timony up to be on the cat cam for a minute? See if we can get Timony for you. We know Stina won't want to be on cat cam.
Where's Butchie at?
I think she's in the bedroom. We need to close Budgie in the bedroom while Timony comes upstairs. Jammy and Timony won't... They at least won't fight. There won't be a huge problem. But Budgie will have a panic attack, and we don't need that. There's no reason to put Budgie through that. Okay, so I'm going to start with a little white base for Cinnamon here. Even though a lot of the top of her head is not white, it's still just going to be easier if I start with white. Because if I start with something darker, then I'm going to end up having to put white over top of that, and that won't be fun. Hardest job to catch a cat? Not Timony. Timony is very easy to catch. Timony wants to be caught. He's so snuggly. Do we do Halloween costumes for the pets? And if yes, what are they going to be, as I love pets in costumes? So Jammy Dodgers has several costumes and has been dressed up a bunch of times in her life. I do have a pumpkin costume over in the corner of this room. She doesn't love it, but she will put up with it. Budgie will absolutely not. Budgie has zero tolerance for any kind of shenanigans of that sort. Cinna, we have not really tried yet because she is quite new and because she was a street cat. And Timony, of course, we've only had him for a week, so don't know yet, but we'll find out. He is very small. He's too small for any of the current costumes that we have. I could put a scrunchie on his neck, but that's about all I've got for him at the moment. He's coming. He's coming. Let me have him for a minute. Here he comes. The cutest baby. Look at the baby. Look at the baby. He's like, what the fuck is all this shit? Oh, he's such a good boy. Oh, we love him. Hang on. Let's get the heads up display here. Oh, there's my good baby boy. Oh, look at how sweet he is. Oh my goodness. Oh, he's so cute. You see why we're completely in love with him, just immediately. He's like, Mom, why do your nails stink? Where are you going to go? Where are you going to go, buddy? You going to go away? Okay. Well, you got him for a second. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Hang on. What's this? Get up here. Get up here. Can you get up? Yeah?
Since I can't get up there, my head's moving back
Can you
and
get
forth
up?
too much.
Can you get up? Hop up. Hop up. You can get it? Come on. Good boy. Good boy. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, what a good boy he is. Oh, what a good boy. There he is. Oh, right in front of the cat cam. Yeah. He's such a good boy. Oh, he's so clever. What you think? What you think? What you think? He says, "No, you're not really moving it enough. It's more fun when he can run across the whole room with it." Oh, what a good boy. He's so cute. He is 2 apples tall. You were not wrong. He's just so small. Oh my god, I love him so much. He's such a funny boy. What you think? What you think? We can just do this for the rest of stream, y'all. Oh my god. So yeah, Brian and I are 100% in love with this young man. Jamie tolerates him as long as he doesn't get too close. Cinna might end up being friends with him. And of course, Budgie is confident that he is going to murder her immediately. He is the scariest thing that has ever happened. Since the last scariest thing that has ever happened. What a good kitty intermission. Oh, he got it. He got it. What you doing with that? What you doing with that? It's hard to move it down. Yeah, the last scariest thing was Cinna. Cinna is terrifying. The difference is Cinna could legitimately murder Budgie, and this little guy cannot. What you think? All right, let's get back to nails. Let's get back to nails. All right, kitty intermission over. I have nails to do, y'all. We gotta do Cinnamom here. Okay, so we're going to need some ginger colors, which I think we're gonna use a little, like a combination of Desert Warthog and Cracked Button Brown. This one, Button Brown, I did get as PR. Also Desert Warthog from Dimension Nails, I got as PR. Everything else so far I purchased, so I think, wait. Yeah, everything else I purchased. Trying to stay on top of that. He's having a good time. Hang on. Are you gonna... Is that... I'm so easily distracted here. Okay. All right. I'm getting back to this. All right, Desert Warthog and a little bit of Button Brown. I think we'll do the trick nicely for Cinna's reddish markings. And anybody that's bored with watching the... Oh, no, he's dragged it off. I was going to say you can watch him play, but nope. He dragged it away. Okay. It's his cat dancer now. So
The bathtub.
his we've like at night we don't want to sort of leave him alone with Cinna because we're not 100% certain on how she'll be with him alone. She's still occasionally giving him a good smack, and so we don't want to leave them completely alone unsupervised. So he has been going into the guest bathroom at night. And that is his little house. It's got, it's got a little water dish, and we put a couple of like cat beds in the bathtub, and put a few toys in there for him, and he's of course got a big litter box and all that good stuff. So he's all set up in the guest bathroom. But an interesting result of this, which we did not anticipate, is that he now takes himself to the guest bathroom when he feels that he wants to have a quiet nap somewhere or just be alone. So he voluntarily goes to the guest bathroom to have some alone time, which is just incredibly cute, I think. So I'm mixing in some of the darker brown here, and then we are also going to have some black areas. It's hard to tell on the photo, I think, on the screen, how much of her is more dark brown and how much of her is more black, but there is a fair bit that is dark brown rather than actually black. I kind of want to get this part, and parts of this I'm doing in the darker brown right now that are actually going to end up being black. Oh, I let it get a little bit too goopy there. I'm gonna need a little thinner. When Sunday was a kitten, she only wanted to play in the bathtub. Yeah, Persephone does the exact same. She also puts you to bed at 9 p.m. She's currently upset you're not in bed. My cats are used to me going to bed very, very, very late. They do expect around 2 a.m. is treats time. So I am supposed to come upstairs at 2 a.m. or by 2 a.m. to do treats. And then, after that, I will be up for a while, usually hanging out in bed, watching something or whatever. And it's a good time for cat snuggles at that point. So the 2 a.m. cat snuggle sessions are pretty good in our house. And I don't usually go to bed or actually go to sleep until 4 or 3. Sort of depends. All right, we'll get some ginger up in here. And then I'm gonna need some black. Is that a hair or is that, yeah, okay. Get rid of that. Molly, welcome and thank you. We're on cat number 3. You missed the if you just got here at least, you missed the cat play intermission with the new youngest. The baby boy was in here, who is going to go on my pinky nail once I am finished with all the adults. Okay, so nose is pink. Don't want to do that in black. bottom of the eye, top of the eye. Kind of trying to just rough things in a little bit here. She does have a sizable black patch around this eye. Okay. So I did not give myself enough black there. Sassy, you've arrived. Hello, welcome. You missed Kitty play intermission as well. Like, literally just by a few minutes. He was just here. We had a good little intermission. Brian brought him up. He's been downstairs for most of the stream, but if you run back, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes or so, you can see Cricket. He's a good boy. You jumped back a bit and saw some of it. I strongly recommend doing that. If not immediately, then after the stream. But you are of course welcome to go and do that if you need to get your fix immediately. I get it. I probably would. I do currently have Jammy Dodgers behind me, but she's on the chair, which is not the best spot for cat cam, because she's mostly blocked. All right, and then down here we have this like whole sort of black patch area that comes up around her nose. And then this side of the ear is also mostly black. She has quite complex patterning. Linry, yours is a short-haired tabby Sunday. Need a kitten pick-me-up? Well, you better go and go back in time and watch a little bit, and then catch up once you're done. He is an absolute sweetheart. We are all completely in love with him. Now this photo doesn't show this ear, but I think it is mostly black. Maybe I should just take a quick peek at a different photo of her. Just gonna find a different photo of Cinna. Yeah, okay, the other ear is basically all black, the one that's kind of covered here. There's some very slight modeling, but it's mostly like the darker brown ginger kind of color. So, and then she's got a little bit of almost black on around there. Most of the rest of this is dark brown rather than black. Okay. That actually has more of that kind of a shape. And this side is more dark brown. All right. Trying to get the dark brown parts and the black parts correct, because otherwise she's just not going to look like her, you know? And we want her to look like her. All right, so we got a little dark mark right there. We got some dark stuff coming in up here. We got a little dark stuff up here. This side is mostly dark brown. I think we're think we're coming along here. We're doing okay. All right, and again, she's got more dark brown up here and more dark brown rather than ginger in this ear. She is such a pretty girl. Just an incredibly pretty cat. I've always had a soft spot for calicos, and I've had several calicos in my life. But, yeah, I just adore them. Every single one that I've had has just been ridiculously feisty, of course. I don't know if that's a calico thing or if it's just a function of being a cat. Jammy and Budgie are just so ridiculously sweet and gentle, you know. I've never had cats that are as just not insane as Jammy and Budgie. So it's a little funny for me. That's going to be her little chin mark. Maymay, you're late. Maymay, you need to rewind a little bit and see Timony because he was on screen for a bit. If you don't want to do it right now, you can go back and check it. But like, I don't know, like 20 minutes or something ago, he first came on, so he was here for a little bit. Do I paint or do other art not on nails? Historically, yes. Currently, I don't really do anything other than nails. But yeah, I have a long history of art in various different formats, and do like digital and traditional media. So yes, the short answer is yes. Lots of art in my life. This pink is the right color, but a little bit too pale. So I'm going to need either to mix or grab a second one. I think I'm going to mix. So here's a fun thing for anybody that isn't sure where to start with color stuff. If you want to make, or if you do some hand painting stuff like this, and you just don't have all the colors, and you want to sort of know a little more about this stuff. If you want to make a color darker while retaining the color, the correct hue, don't add black. Don't do it. Never add black. Black will make it darker, but it'll also make it gray. It'll make it desaturated. And so if you want it darker but in the same color family, you can add, like in this case I added a little bit of button brown to the pink, which is sort of it's a reddish leaning brown. So sort of a, I don't know, what do you want to call that, like a mahogany kind of brown. Definitely a red leaning brown to add in to make it a little darker. And I'm going to add even a little bit more of that for the shadow, rather than adding a whole lot of black. Now, at some point, there's a limit to how dark it'll go, and you will need to add something else. But in that case, you still are not going to want to go black. You're actually going to want to go with something that's more opposite on the color wheel. And in this case, I'm going to add a little bit of green to the shadow under the lip. So it's going to be the green and the brown mixed together, because I don't want a black and I don't want a super desaturated color. What I want is something that looks like a pink area that is in shadow. So black will never look like a pink area in shadow. Gray will never look like a pink area in shadow. but a dark, slightly desaturated reddish brown mixed with just a tiny little bit of green is going to give you more of the right kind of look. So you kind of want to pull colors in the opposite direction. So if you're working on something red and you want to go, you want to get the, hang on. We have Timony. We have Timony Cricket. Timony alert. We have Timony. What a good boy. What a good boy. Oh, I don't think he's going to stay long, but we have him. Brian to the rescue here. But yeah, like say you're, painting something red and you want to give it some shadow. You're better off adding like a dark green or a purple, a blue, something like that, depending on the exact tone that you're looking for, to give it more of a shadowed look. You kind of have to think about like what color your shadows are and stuff, and you get into a lot of color temperature stuff. So it can get quite complicated. But yeah, so like if you have, so for instance, with the white parts on Cinnamon here, I don't want to make them gray. I don't want to add gray to that. We're just gonna take another Timony intermission here. Instead of adding gray, I'm actually going to add a tiny little bit of brown and a tiny little bit of green to my white. And that's going to give me a better shadow color. That is my plan. What a good boy he is. My goodness. Look at that child. What's going on there, Timony Cricket?
The toy has you. The toy.
It's got you. Such a good boy. It's not great for nail art efficiency, but it sure is good for literally everything else. Yeah. What a cutie. Okay. I'm going back to nail art. Okay, so yeah, like I was saying, rather than adding gray for the shadows on Cinnamom's face, I'm gonna use just a tiny, tiny, tiny nip of brown and green to get that color that I want. And that's going to give me a shaded look without making it look like weirdly flat. Because shadows on gray things in real life, or like shadows on white things in real life are not gray. They always are like blue and green and pink and purple, and there are a variety of colors depending on the reflected light around them. But they're never gray. A little bit too much there. I really need just a tiny bit, because it's not a particularly dark shadow. Alright, so yeah, actually maybe just a little bit more of the red. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Shadow here. Right up in the top. And then I think that's probably about it, actually. I need to bring back a little bit of white in the middle there. Because that is actually not in shadow that bit. There we go. Okay, so it gives a little bit of contour. It's quite subtle, but it gives a little bit of the shade without it being like, oh, there's gray markings on this cat's face, which would be weird for her. You got to boop a stray. Brian, Marie says thank you for playing with the kitty. Who's the, hang on, I need to scroll back up. Somebody's a picky eater. Unnamed stray let you boop his nose. Tell me more about Unnamed Stray. This is a new one that I don't know about yet? Cinnamon definitely has very green eyes. Green, green, green. Super green. I am gonna do a little bit of that thinned out shadow as well, of course, in this eye, just like I did for the other two. So just mix a wash and go over the inside of the eye, get some shadow in there. And then you think you mentioned it in Discord? Was I too distracted? I might have been distracted by other things. What does this new kitty look like? Okay, and now we need a tiny little bit of white highlight, which also needs a little thinner. Ray and Sassy are correct about what? Oh, the cat distribution system? Yeah. You're like a high priority for the cat distribution system, though. Like, the system knows you're a complete sucker. You will never say no. He's black and white. Oh my goodness. All right, well, clearly I have to go back in the pets channel and take a look because I've obviously been missing out on some premium cat content. I need to have a little bit more pink on her nose because I think there's like a bit of an area here where the fur is a little thinner, and so you get more of the pinky color. There we go. That's looking a little better. A black and white baby. You sent me a pic in DMs? All right, thank you. I'm gonna pop over and take a look at that here. DM Kitty. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh, he's a very handsome boy. Okay, hang on. Can I show him on screen? I assume it's okay if I show him on screen. Hang on. Let's open this up in here. And then... Ugh, come on. Add it into this one. Can you add it into this one? There. There he is. Ah! Why are you not letting me? There we go. You're bad at Discord and are learning about the pets channel from us? Alright. There he is. He or she. It. The cat. Looks like a male. Looks like an unneutered male. That is Mei Mei's newest friend. What a cutie. I love him. I love him. He is adorable. I'm glad that he found you. Whoops. Come on. Can you please not... Can I just... Thank you. Alright. Let's go back to my reference here. There we go. Living his best life, yes. Okay, so Cutie Patootie, apparently, and I just found this out, I read it online, so I don't know if this is true. This might be a total lie. What I'm about to say to you might be a total lie. But, apparently, patootie is like an old-timey slang word for penis. So now I'm like regretting every time I ever called one of the cats a cutie patootie. Yeah. Oh, hey. I didn't tip her ear properly. We need to tip her ear better. On this side. There we go. Now she's tipped properly. All right. Cinna is done. So we have finished Budgie and Jammy and Cinna, and now it is time for the new boy. Bonquette, hello, welcome. We're doing all of my kitties on my nails. Thank you. We're having fun. Yeah, so we finished Budgie and Jammy are the old ladies. They're turning 16 in October. And this is Cinna, who joined the family last year. Yeah, in March. Last March, 29th. There's Timmy. Little Timony Cricket. There he is. The newest member, the newest addition. He's going where we cannot follow him. He's going into the laundry basket. But that's Timony Cricket. We just got him last week. And he's captured all of our hearts. We love him immensely. He's a perfect, beautiful boy. Timony has found my skeleton. I have a skeleton hanging on the wall back there that you can't see. He was attacking my skeleton. You can't see it on stream, unfortunately. It's but But I have a skeleton on the wall back there that he was attacking for a moment. One of my many skeletons. We'll just, I guess we'll just keep that there in case he comes back. Yeah, I always assumed it was a nonsense rhyme as well, but yeah, that's what I heard. That's what I read. Okay, so for this young man, I'm gonna go see if I have a better color for him, while Brian entertains everybody with the laser pointer. Because I can mix a color, but I might just have one. Maybe that might be useful. Okay. This is basically a Timony stream now. Yes, he does have crazy pants. You are quite correct. Brian wins Best Helper of the Day award. There's lots of Brian appreciation in the chat, along with Timony appreciation. It's funny, the laser dot isn't really showing up very well. I can kind of see it if it's going slowly enough, but yeah, exactly. It's mostly just him zooming around after an invisible something. All Timony all the time. Uh-huh. The Timony Television Network.
It's TT.
Oh, you're right.
Timony News Network.
Timony News Network. Surely it should be TMN.
TBS.
For Timony...
Timony Broadcasting System?
No, not TBS. It sounds too much like TPS, which is Toronto Police Service.
Well, it also sounds like PBS, which is the
Yes.
now unfunded broadcaster.
At first you thought there was a bug, Timony chasing a cricket? Yeah.
That too.
He does that too. We have had a cricket chasing cricket situation a couple of times. He's a good little bug hunter, this one.
Go sleep in the bathtub after all this exercise.
Yeah. He will be having a good little nap, I am sure.
How is that? Was that enough? My finger's getting tired.
Yeah, I need to get back to my nails, so. Good boy, Cricket. All right, back to the nails. So I grabbed a couple of different colors that I think might be close-ish or closer. This one's too pinky. I think this might be okay as a base. It's not quite yellowy enough. It does need a tiny bit of a yellowy tone in it. I don't think the pistachio is going to be right, though. Maybe, oh, you know what? Maybe, what's that new hollow taco? Here. It's not new, but new to me. Butter something? Butter me up? We'll use Butter Me Up for some of his highlights, I think. I think that should help a lot. He's not quite as yellowy as he looks in this photo. This is partly a lighting issue. He's like gray tan. Timony Cricket Entertainment, TCE. Yep. Okay. Let's start with this base. This is Sand Crab from Abomination Cosmetics, and this is also, this one was a was a PR. This one was gifted. All right. Get that little base on there. He's got that classic tabby M with some little dots on the top. Definitely butter me up around the eyes. It's gonna have... What'd that nose do? Looks like the nose is kind of pinkish, but dark. And he's definitely gonna need some light gray with some butter me up in the ears. Yeah, I think like a combination of grays, butter me up, and sand crab is going to do the trick for him. The too pinky brown might be good for his nose. Yeah, it's pretty close, I think. This is Sand Viper. That was also a PR one from Dimension. That's a good spot. I think that might be perfect for his little nose. I also need to check some other photos. I think his eyes are green. Pretty sure his eyes are green. It is a really warm gray. Those bottles are made to be displayed. Which bottles? All right, I'm gonna start with his... I'm gonna take a nose out approach on this one. Just because I feel like I just want to get sort of a basic location for this. He has a little bit of a long face compared to all my other babies. The Abomination ones? Yeah, for sure. I also have this like real dark gray, this Desert Monitor, or not dark gray, dark brown. That might be good for some of the darker areas because it's a little less reddish. Abomination has new bottles that do fit into the helmet. Yeah, he's had to change them a couple of times. Because he's had some supplier issues, unfortunately. His original bottles were the octagonal ones. Those fit just fine. And then he went to these long ones, which are beautiful, but don't fit shorter shelves. And then he had to change to another new one. Because he was, I guess, this supplier... I don't know if they stopped selling these ones or what the deal was. It was sort of right when the first round of tariffs started happening, and I think like they kind of were sort of pulling back a lot of products from shipping to the States. You want to put your children on your nails too? You should. Everybody should put their children on their nails. I think. His ears are just so big. I mean, I know it's just a proportional thing because he's so small right now, but it is very funny to me. He's got great big bat ears. This child is all ear. All ear all the time. Ooh, there we go. You have a couple of stamps that look like your children. Nice. All right, I think if I blend some sand crab with this Desert Monitor, is that what this one is? Yes. I think I might get some of these good in-between tones without having to to bring in grays, because I think Desert Monitor might be different enough in tone to desaturate it slightly. Yeah, this is looking reasonably correct in terms of tone. Now, obviously, you know, it's going to take a while for us to get the markings all worked in, but I want to get the color base a little more accurate here before we go too much further into the markings. So I think, yeah, I feel like this is a good color for the mid grayish browns. And then we're gonna have some like, it's got like some serious contouring makeup stuff going on here. I think we're just gonna have to trust the process on this one. I am not feeling super confident right this second, but I think we'll get there. No cat stamping plates. You do need cat stamping plates, Mei. How do you not have cat stamping plates? That seems incorrect to me. Actually, I think I'm gonna do the dark parts first. And then go in highlights later. Try and get some of this face structure in here. Alright, so he's got real dark, like, lines going from the eye to the edge of the nose. Well, didn't have the angle quite right there, did I? That's alright, we can fix that. And then he squints a lot, this young man does. I'm not sure. I know that he had some issues. They had him on some eye drops for a while, so I'm not sure how much of it is from that and how much of it is from, like, constantly anticipating getting smacked by his sister. Because she certainly does like to smack him. But he's definitely a little bit of a squinty boy. I think I'm gonna have to go over the nose with the pinker stuff after. There we go. All right. Now we need this M shape. Very important to get that M shape in there. The classic tabby marking. I did not quite get the eyes down low enough here, I think. Gonna have to do a little rejiggering there, I think, but well, maybe we'll work it out anyway. We shall see. Your stamping goes more cartoony. Squidbrain's cartoony dogs. That's cute. Cartoony can be nice, though. Operation Hot Take is taking aim. You strongly dislike cats. You know what? That's fine. You don't have to like cats. You're allowed to not like cats. Not everybody has to like things, the same things that everybody else likes. I am not a fan of dogs, so I'm definitely not gonna judge anybody for not liking cats. I'm okay with other people's dogs, like in small doses, but they're not for me, man. Yeah, Brian just said from the other room they're too much like the children, and that's a big part of it. Like, it's so much demanding energy, and the drooling, they're messy, and it's the wrong energy for me. But like, I get why other people like them, so and as long as other people are happy, then that's cool. Now, if you don't like any animals, then I start to worry that there's something actually wrong with you. Like, not liking dogs or not liking cats, I think it's normal to have preferences. Especially because, sometimes people have had just like bad experiences, or they've just, they've only met sort of poorly behaved animals, whatever. There's all kinds of reasons. But not liking any kind of animal, then I start to worry. Like, are you actually a sociopath? Not that everybody has to have a pet. Not everybody's life is compatible with having a pet. But not liking any kind of animal, that's weird. Not liking cats, that's fine. That's normal. You're okay. We can still be friends. Allergic to cats? Well, shit, yeah. Obviously, you're gonna not enjoy being around cats if you're allergic to them. Duh. Not all dogs are messy and drooly like the dogs of my childhood. Ray, my favorite childhood dog was a miniature poodle who was zero messy, zero drooly, incredibly well trained, incredibly well behaved, the most polite, delightful, wonderful dog. He was great. I still wouldn't want one of him. He was a great dog. I have no complaints about him. I still wouldn't want one of him. Even if I could be guaranteed it was going to be just like him, not what I want in my life. So it's not because, I've only had terrible dogs. It's just, they're just not for me. You're scared of dragonflies and butterflies and birds? You're not the first person I've heard say that. I know several people who are quite frightened of many small harmless flying things. It's a thing, and it's not like you have a whole lot of control over this kind of thing, right? Like, you have these weird fears and you're like, well, that's stupid. And even if you recognize that it's a stupid fear to have, it's not like you can just say, oh, well, that's dumb, I'm going to stop being afraid of that. That's not how that works. The fact that it's not a rational fear doesn't make it just not a fear anymore. I actually developed a phobia of house centipedes many years ago. And it took me a really long time to come back from that. I was not previously afraid of them until I lived in a house where there were just so many of them all the time. And it was because, there was a lot of, I was in the basement apartment, there was a lot of stuff for them to eat. So, and they were taking care of the pests. And logically, I should have been thanking them for that. And, I loved most other bugs. But yeah, house centipedes, I developed a terrible phobia. And that was very difficult. And it took me years of conscious effort to unlearn that fear. And I really worked hard on it. I would go and look up pictures of house centipedes and just force myself to look at them, and like force myself to like stare at them if I saw one, you know, if I saw one in the wild, I would have to like, you know, sort of force myself to make eye contact with them and stuff. And just, you know, learn as much as I could about them and try to sort of, you know, acclimatize myself to them as much as I could. And now, finally, I am okay with them. Like, we had one in the sink the other day, and I caught it in a catch cup, and I brought it down to the basement, and I set it free in the basement because the basement is the perfect place for house centipedes. And, you know, I did not have the panicked feeling, but I'm still not about to, like, pick it up in my hands. I'm using a catch cup for that thing. Even though I know that they are harmless, I cannot hold them in my hands. I simply cannot do it. Most other bugs, no problem. Yeah, they are ridiculously fast. They're very fast, and they look like they forgot to evolve. They're just like, nah, you know what? We're gonna just stay prehistoric. I feel like instead of painting Timony, I have painted Timony what he's going to look like when he is an adult. I think I have accidentally done that. And you know, maybe that's okay. I do need a little bit more of a blend out there, I think. Anyone else getting the new Hollow Taco collection? I am on a complete and total no-buy right now. No matter how tempting anything is, I am allowed to purchase no polish. Zero. Zip. Nada. Because I still have too much from PBE. I am not allowed to even consider buying any nail polish until all of my PBE stuff is has been used, and I have everything in my untried rack over there needs to be used before I'm allowed. So I will not be purchasing the new Hollow Taco collection anytime soon. There's like a couple in there that I'm interested in, so it might be one of those like, you know, Black Friday or something like that. Maybe I pick up one. But yeah. You're annoyed at millipedes. Sometimes they randomly get in and fall off the roof. Millipedes or centipedes? Because it would be weird for millipedes to be on the roof, but you are in Florida, so who the hell knows? Bunket, you're waiting until Black Friday. You love the crushed hollow formula. I also really love the crushed hollow formula. I have a couple of the bluebird shattered hollows as well, but I also have the whole wildflower shattered hollow collection that they did. That was like a full rainbow, and so it's like, yeah, it's kind of hard to justify buying more of that type of formula. But like, if the color is different enough, and we'll see how I feel about it once I'm no longer on my no-buy. But there's a possibility I'll pick up one or two, as I say. I'm kind of looking at, this is going to shock you, but the teal and the green. Really stepping outside my comfort zone with the teal and the green. Yeah, those two are obviously very appealing to me. But I think the teal is probably a lot like one of the... Actually, I think both of those colors are probably a lot like two from the Wildflower collection. So probably also trying to join Club No Buy. The red does look a little bit orangey, but I don't mind that. Orangey colors look pretty good on me, I think. I really enjoy orangey reds. I also really enjoy, sort of more neutral reds if they're vampy enough, if they're like darker. But yeah, I like an orangey red personally. I'm a big fan of especially the darker fire engine kind of reds. All right. We need to get some of the lighter tones into his ears here. You're excited to see the Bee's Knees lacquer. It's blah blah. What is that show called? Come on, K-pop Demon Hunters polishes. Yes. Yeah, those very exciting. Very exciting. I have not seen the show, but I love Bee's Knees lacquer stuff. So for me, it's always exciting when they come out with something. Because I probably always want it. Or at least some proportion of it. You're going to skip PPU. I have this gift card for PPU, but I feel like I can't break my no-buy for PPU despite the gift card. I feel like that would be cheating. You know what I mean? Because it's not just about the money, right? It's also about like just having way too much polish on hand that I have not had a chance to try yet. So I feel like I need to go through some of that first, regardless of things being, on a gift card or whatever, so extra super cheap. I really, truly don't need any basics, Ray. Like I just got top and base coats from BCB. She sent me some top and base, and I still have a bunch of top and base, and I make my own cuticle oil. I do actually. She also sent me the brush, her unscented brush applicator cuticle oil, which I do really like to have for when I'm at the sofa, when I want something that's like not gonna make a mess on like my Switch and stuff. So I do like to have the brush applicator for that. But for everything else, I just use my DIY. The Hit the Bottle peel-off base looks interesting, but again, I DIY my peel-off, so it's like, do I really need to buy a peely base if I already DIY peely base? Feels like a waste to me. You need some of the BCB Smut Collection Volume 2? Yeah. Yeah, it's blurring and peel off, but I distinctly want to avoid a blurring base because I'm swatching. Most of the time I'm swatching. I don't want to be using a blurring base for swatching because I feel like it is most of the time makes it harder to tell what things look like, right? It makes it harder for the customers to tell what things look like. So I don't want to use a blurring base for anything that I'm swatching. And I don't want to use a blurring base for, most of my nail art, because generally speaking, it's not going to make a difference. Because I'm usually using an opaque base anyway. So yeah, I just don't have a good use case for it. I think I did it, y'all. I do think that Timone's face looks a little more adult than he actually is. But I do think it looks like Timony. I am actually, I think, just going to soften that lower eye line just a little bit. It looks just a little bit too harsh there. There we go. Maybe this one as well. go. That's a little better. It's mostly for you for the sheer polishes. Yeah, I get it. I just don't wear a lot of super sheer polishes for myself, and if I'm wearing them for swatching, then it's not great to have a blurring base, in my opinion. I know that there are swatchers that will use a blurring base. As long as it's being disclosed, I think it's fine. It's just not what I prefer to do. If it's a sheer polish, I want to be showing that it's a sheer polish. Okay, I have a frickin' fungus gnat in here, just crawling around on my desk. Well, it's probably from the aquarium. All right. This is like, I have to say, the least cat enriched live stream we've had in a long time. Normally there's like a cat kind of all the time on the cat cam. Now, the cat cam action we did get was much more exciting than usual, so a decent trade-off, I think. But still, kind of funny that on the stream where I'm doing the cat nails, we hardly had any cat time on the cat cam. It's a little ironic. All right, so there's my, that was just the smudge-free coat that I just put on. I feel like I wanna, and that's actually why, you see how it's clouding up? The DRK Steel Glaze always clouds up like this. It does a real weird, it goes real wonky for a minute. But then as it dries, it goes clear again. Yeah, the kitty time that we did have was magnificent. Very pleased about it. So yeah, I prefer it immensely when swatchers are not using blurring bases. I mean, I get it. And there are times, I know that there have been times when like makers have specifically requested that the swatchers use their specific blurring base with the product, because they're not just marketing the product, they're marketing the base as well. So I get that. And as long as everybody is like, you know, super, super clear about the base that's being used, I think it's fine. You know, it's not like I get mad about it. It's just that because I know I'm not going to use a blurring base and I prefer not to use a blurring base, it's not useful to me as a customer to see something with a blurring base, because it's just not how I'm ever going to see it. So yeah. Oh. That light needs to get turned off. It's starting to blink on me. Yes, we did get very high quality cat activity on the cam today. That is very true. All right. I will put another coat of top coat on the thumb as well while I'm top coating everything else, because why the heck not? The question is, do I want matte top coat for the whole thing, or for the baby's faces, or for none of it? Do I just want to go all glossy? Do I want to do a mix? What do I want to do? Yeah, if a blurring base is used, I want to see with and without. And I don't mind visible nail line with some polishes. Like, for me, it really does depend on the polish and how I'm using it. There are certainly some polishes where I don't mind the blurring base at all. Actually, this one, I don't want to use this one because this one is like super thick. I need to thin that out. I think this one is reasonably thin. Yeah, you're okay. Okay. What do we think? Should I do them matte? Sassy, you think matte faces? And the rest glossy? I was kind of thinking about that. I feel like that could sort of accentuate the soft sort of look that they have. Timony heading downstairs? You want to open it up so Budgie can come out then?
Yeah, that's a nice thought to
Okay.
let just him go downstairs. And
Thank
turn
you.
around, 'cause he's like, oh, you're not going?
Timony Cricket needs to go downstairs now. And we'll let Budgie come out. You're okay, Budge. It's safe. Budgie's been closed in the bedroom. We sort of rearranged things so that Budgie feels a little safer while she's getting accustomed to having another new cat in the house. So the bedroom already, you know, she drinks out of the master bath sink a lot, so she's fine for water. But we moved one of the litter boxes into the bedroom and have been bringing a little bowl of food in there for her, so she's got kibble in there. So when she feels like she needs to go hide in the closet, she at least doesn't have to come out all the way into the hallway to deal with everything. Just sort of help reduce her stress for a little while. Yeah, Timony following Brian down the hall, very cute. He follows us everywhere. He's really funny actually, because he, like, as soon as anybody gets up to go anywhere, Timony is like immediately at your ankles. And his big thing is, as soon as somebody goes to the kitchen, he immediately runs over to the mat right in front of the sink and like flops down on your feet and, like, you know, whines around and does all the silly cat things trying to get attention. And it's incredibly cute, but it's also incredibly unhelpful. You're trying to work at the sink. Timony gives you Raiko vibes. He is like a little bit puppy-like in some ways. He kind of reminds me. He's got a little bit of puppy energy. You just noticed my cute cat rings? Yeah. I have a little kitty face and a little kitty, and then on the other hand, I also have a little kitty that is not... There we go. Little kitty faces. I had to wear all my kitty rings. Bebe is throwing hands because he's not used to sharing his humans. Aw, poor Bebe. Reiko sprints from across the room to see what you're doing. Yeah, just very curious, very human-focused, which is not necessarily a super common trait in cats. I mean, I have had other cats that are very human-focused like that. But like Jammy is extremely human-focused, but doesn't have, you know, the same kind of energy level, in part because she's been in pain, you know, since she was a kitten. So it's kind of fun to see a cat with that much energy that is also that cat focused or that human focused. All right, let's get some. Actually, I'm going to use the other one here. Get some matte top coat. Bebe is very possessive. Poor Bebe. All right, now I do have to apply at least the ears with the little brush. And then I think I can do the rest with the bigger brush. Jammy's ears barely count, but I'll do them anyway. And this way I just don't have to worry about trying to catch those with the bottle brush, and I can use the bottle brush for the rest. And I think that'll make life a little easier for mattifying the kitty faces. It's in his little tipped ear. She's such a good girl. I'm very pleased with how well she and Timony are getting along so far. It was one of those, like, we were pretty sure she would appreciate having a little cat friend, but also it can be real hard for street cats to learn how to have a cat friend, you know, if they haven't sort of been raised with a cat friend. They don't necessarily understand cat signals very well, aside from, like, I want to murder you, enemy cat. So it's gonna take a little while, but she's doing well. She certainly has not tried to actually hurt Timony. She's given him the pretty good beat down a few times, but she's not tried to actually hurt him. Aw, May May, you tired? It is hard even if they were raised with other cats, but, like, I feel like cats that have been raised with more cat socialization often tend to do a little better. Bebe filing a CDS complaint. Yeah. Poor Bebe. It's not his fault. He just wants his human all to himself. Y'all. Okay, the mat is still drying a little bit, but I think they came out pretty cute. I think mattifying just the kitties is correct as well. It kind of looks like I just put, like, weird matte stickers on the ends of my nails. I really like this polish too, this Beau Rev. I never buy mysteries, but you know, this is part of the reason why I really like being able to, like, actually go to PBE and all these places that do mystery polishes. A lot of the time, if they're at PBE, they'll bring leftover mystery polishes with them, and I picked up several at this one, so very happy about them. Bebe could choose to go inside. He's not going to, though. He's a very stubborn boy. All right, y'all. I'm going to call it. I'm going to take some photos of these. I'm so glad that y'all got to meet Timony in person. He's such a good boy. He's a very cute kitty. And you see why we're obviously just completely in love with him. Bebe has been raised with other cats, but he's very territorial. Yeah, that happens. But he's also, like, been outside the whole time too, right? Like, he's had to fight other cats as opposed to, like, being raised in a house with kitties where there was always food and safety and stuff. So that's a little different, I think. But yeah, the mat was absolutely the correct choice on the tips. I completely agree. Very smart. All right. Thanks, everybody. That's going to be it for me. I will try and get these posted soon. I'll probably post them in the Discord like tomorrow or something, just so y'all can actually see them ahead of time. But they'll be posted on Instagram at some point later. And yeah, that's it for now. I have no idea what I'm doing next week. I don't have anything sort of scheduled in my brain for next week's streams. So if you have any ideas, holler at me. Let me know what you want me to do, and we'll figure something out. All right. Thanks, everybody. Good night. Don't forget to like and all that good stuff.